Good evening, you're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. Royal Oman Police celebrates its annual day, which falls on the 5th of January every year amid noticeable achievements. North and South Korea agree to hold official talks for the first time in more than 2 years. And Afghan police says death toll from last night's suicide attack in Kabul has jumped to 20. Those were the headlines, and now for the news in detail. The Royal Oman Police succeeded in approximating its service and accelerating the completion of transactions. In addition to reducing crowds, they established more buildings in various governorates of the Sultanate in order to serve the citizens and residents. The new buildings included a number of halls with qualified human cadres for receiving citizens and providing traffic services, Directorate General for Passports and Citizenship, in addition to civil status. Royal Oman Police, by establishing these service buildings, aim to provide police services as a one-stop station where people can complete all transactions at one site with high-quality standards. The final match of the Arab Gulf football tournament between Oman and the United Arab Emirates is currently underway. Hundreds of Omani football fans have traveled to Kuwait to witness the thrilling event. Good luck to our national team. The final day of camel races in the Niyaba of Hamra al-Duru in the Governorate of Dhahra included 6 rounds. The festival, which was organized by Oman Camel Federation with support from private sector, witnessed a wide participation from camel owners from inside and outside the governorate, as well as members of the community. At the end, the winners were honored. The 5th of January is marked as the annual day for the Royal Oman Police. The ROP celebrates this day with pride for many achievements they realized in various fields. More details in the following report.
Royal Oman Police celebrates its annual day, which falls on the 5th of January every year, amid witnessed achievements in various fields of police work. The celebrations this year came with aspirations to provide better social services. The ROP enhanced its service and security system by inaugurating a number of establishments during the previous period, aiming to augment security services and develop its efficiency by integrated electronic environment in order to uplift the kind of services provided for beneficiaries. In the field of services, the Directorate General for Information Technology implemented a number of electronic services in the civil status, passports, traffic services, Directorate General of Customs and electronic applications to integrate police service, in addition to connect them with other government and private institutions. Recently, the electronic visa system was implemented and the Smart Patrol services was inducted. In the traffic field, the Directorate General for Traffic continue its awareness and monitoring programs to reduce traffic accidents, and in the previous years, from 2012 until the end of 2017, achieved a 67% decrease in traffic accidents. In the field of criminal work, the Directorate General for Criminal Investigations achieved good results in decreasing crime percentage during the previous 4 years, on an average of around 20% every year. In the field of combating drugs, the Directorate General for Combating Narcotics and Psychotropic Substance achieved good results in facing the issue with a decrease in a number of drug-related cases with 63%, and the number of accused people declined to 10%. The Directorate General of Customs enhanced its system this year through signing cooperation agreements in the field of customs services and released the goods with a number of governmental bodies, aiming to accelerate custom procedure and facilitate a speedy commercial movement. A Coast Guard directorate was established recently for ports to secure establishments and vital facilities. The Horse Mountain Police Unit was established during the last year by forming a team where a number of horsemen were trained to do their operational tasks.
Still to come in our news bulletin. People started queuing up in bookstores in Washington, D.C. to buy a new book about Donald Trump's first year of presidency of the United States. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The UK Secretary of Defence has warned that the dangers of the Daesh group are far from over. During a press conference in Baghdad yesterday, Gavin Williamson said the fight against the Daesh enters a new phase and expressed his government's commitment to continue working with the US-led international coalition to chase down the militants in Syria and beyond. Williamson, who started an unannounced official visit to Iraq yesterday, also said his government is determined to win the war online, preventing the group's viral propaganda from recruiting yet more fanatical fighters or inspiring further outrages against innocents. He signed a statement of intent with Iraqi Defense Minister Irfan al-Hayali to invest $13.5 million to strengthen Iraqi counter-terrorism. Last month, Iraq declared the defeat of the Daesh after more than 3 years of fierce fights in northern and western Iraq.
Over, but we've already shown what our nations can accomplish by working together.
China's foreign ministry said today that it welcomes and supports concrete efforts to improve ties on the Korean peninsula after North and South Korea agreed to hold official talks next week for the first time in more than 2 years. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Geng Shuang told a regular news briefing the talks would be conducive to improving the situation on the peninsula. Geng also welcomed the US and South Korea's decision to postpone military exercises during the upcoming Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. The meeting will take place at the border truce village of Panmunjom, where officials from both sides are expected to discuss the Winter Olympics to be held in the south next month and other inter-Korean relations. Meanwhile, China's Special Envoy for the Korean Peninsula issue, Kong Jang-yu, held talks today in Seoul with the South Korean counterpart, Lee Do-hoon. Lee remarked that South Korea and China's relationship is more important than ever at this moment of time. The meeting took place after a Seoul official said both Koreas have agreed to hold their first talks in more than 2 years next Tuesday. Afghan police said today the death toll from the previous night's suicide attack in Kabul has jumped to 20, with another 27 policemen wounded. The attack took place last night in the eastern part of the Afghan capital, where dozens of security officers had congregated to protect a demonstration of shopkeepers that had been held earlier in the day. No one so far has claimed responsibility for the bombing, but both Taliban insurgents and the Daesh group's affiliate in Afghanistan have targeted the country's security forces in the past. Irish police investigating a series of attacks that left 1 man dead and 2 injured said they have found no ties to extremism. Police said yesterday that they have found no established link to indicate that this tragedy is terrorist-related. An 18-year-old Egyptian man is being questioned as a suspect. He was arrested on Wednesday after 1 man was stabbed to death and 2 others were injured in the town of Dundalk, just south of the border with Northern Ireland. The 3 attacks took place at 3 separate locations within 40 minutes of each other. Police said after the arrest that an extremist link was one line of inquiry. The victim who died was a 24-year-old Japanese man. People lined up in bookstores in Washington, D.C. today to buy an explosive new book about Donald Trump's first year of presidency of the United States. The publisher Henry Holt and Company moved up the release date of Michael Wolff's Fire and Fury 4 days to January 5th, citing unprecedented demand. Fire and Fury paints a derogatory portrait of Trump, describing him as an undisciplined man-child who didn't actually want to win the White House. People in coastal New England in the U.S. had to contend with flooded streets and a snowstorm yesterday as a gigantic winter storm pushed through the area from Massachusetts to Maine. The storm's powerful winds brought coastal flooding that reached historic levels in some communities, with icy water overflowing piers, streets and restaurants, and stranding some people who had to be rescued. Blizzard warnings were in effect along the East Coast from North Carolina to Maine. The U.S. National Weather Service measured wind gusts of more than 113 kilometers per hour, which downed power lines. And now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Clear skies will prevail over the Sultanate with chances of low clouds and fog late at night and early morning over the governorates of Sharqiya and Worcester and coastal areas of Sea of Oman. Winds will be southerly to southeasterly light to moderate. Seas will be slight with a maximum wave height of 1 meter. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. Royal Oman Police celebrates its annual day, which falls on the 5th of January every year amid noticeable achievements. North and South Korea agreed to hold official talks for the first time in more than 2 years. And Afghan police says death toll from last night's suicide attack in Kabul has jumped to 20. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.